Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with a weekly review video with Johnny. We'll have a bit of a chat about some of the things that have caught Johnny's attention this week. So let's go to the video. All right, Johnny, how are you today?
Yeah, good Stu. It's another day back at the office today, but it's getting really hot in the streets, right?
It is getting hot. It is getting hot in the Spanish language capital of the world, Madrid. Yeah, getting very, very hot. And
Yeah.
no relief in sight, I don't think. But the good news is, and I'll say this thinking about our viewers in Canada and the United States, is that it's not as hot here, fortunately, as it is in some parts of North America at the moment.
Yeah. Tell me a bit more about that because I must have missed something there.
Well, I had a few comments on the channel from people in Canada saying it was like 45 degrees and, they've never experienced temperatures like that, or they haven't experienced temperatures like that for a long time. Then I saw on the news last night that apparently there's some type of, I don't know what they called it here. They called it some type of dome that's sitting over that northern part of the United States there, and it's creating this like a greenhouse effect, and temperatures are they're just not going down. They're just staying really, really high,
Oh,
and apparently quite a few people have unfortunately lost their lives and suffering with extreme temperatures.
oh no, that's a shame.
So
Yeah,
we don't have that here yet.
yeah. Well, fingers crossed it doesn't get that bad here,
Well,
but summers
hopefully.
summers in Madrid are quite an experience.
Especially when you're out and about in the midday sun.
Yeah, sunburn season.
It is sunburn season. What's on the agenda today, Johnny?
All right, so let's talk about Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO, the streaming services.
Oh,
So
okay.
the government wants to get wants them essentially to pay a tax to fund RTVE, the state broadcaster,
Yeah,
and it doesn't surprise me in the sense that governments are trying to get these tech companies, these streaming platforms, to pay more in tax. But what I actually learned while I was reading about this was that there is already a law in place where media channels do have to pay something, and it goes towards funding RTVE.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Do you have Netflix?
I do. I have Netflix here.
Yeah, you probably noticed on the bill that now it says Netflix Spain when it's billed to you every month. Before it came from Luxembourg or Ireland or one of these places where they paid less tax. But Netflix now has had to set up a company here in Spain, and they are obviously paying their taxes here. And I don't know whether this is in relation to what we're talking about now, that this funding of the state broadcaster RTVE. Um, the BBC in the UK, correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny, but I think you pay to have a TV license, right?
Exactly. Yeah. From memory, yeah, you pay the TV license, and supposedly the TV license funds are what funds the BBC.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
doesn't happen here, and the government obviously not getting any revenue from the state broadcaster, and therefore looking for ways to finance it. I don't know whether it's a good idea or not. I mean, how many people are watching these traditional television stations anymore? You speak to young people, and basically nobody's watching traditional television anymore. Maybe a football game or something like that, but when it comes to regular programming, it's really going downhill for a lot of television channels, I believe.
Yeah, I watch it from time to time, but more from an educational point of view to learn about what's going on in Spain and that, all that kind of stuff. You do get the odd film or series on Netflix that has some involvement with our TV in it,
Yeah.
and they've obviously got their digital player as well. But yeah, I think the Netflixes, the Amazon Primes, the HBOs are what's dominating the streaming services today.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, Netflix have done a lot of collaborations with Mediaset, I think. Antena Tres is another network here. The state broadcaster, the RTVE, obviously they have the production capacity to do this. They've got the cameras, they've got the sets, they've got all the gear you need to put a production together, but they just don't have the money to finance it. So co-financing. And Netflix has really taken off in Spain in a big way, as it has done around the world. I mean, everybody now has a Netflix subscription, or they share one with other family members, which is something quite common here. So, yeah, it's really come in a big way.
Yeah, it has indeed. Particularly with shows like La Casa de Papel or Money Heist, as it's known in English, taking
Yeah,
off. Yeah, a lot of Spanish TV and movies have taken off on the platform and yeah, given it visibility in Spain.
that's right. And when it comes to the state broadcaster, the group that we mentioned, this RTVE, they've been on a downward slide for quite a few years now. The governments, various governments, have had problems to finance it. I think a couple of years ago they even started advertising on there. They started regular publicity in between the TV programs, just like a commercial channel. And I think they took that away, but that was one of the ways they looked to financing it in the past.
Yeah, well, that's essentially where this law of funding RTV comes from. I think it was under the Zapatero government, where they decided to, well, when they stopped advertising on RTVE, the way of compensating for the loss of revenues from advertising was to introduce this tax on other players that are in that space.
Yeah, that's it. And the key to Netflix and HBO, HBO. The key to those platform success is they don't have any advertising, and it's a fairly seamless viewing experience. Whereas other channels, of course, I mean, even here on YouTube, it's an advertising-based model, as some people complain about. But it is what it is. The state broadcaster, it's had various problems over the years, and it's very politicized as well. It's one of these places that every time the government changes, a new group of people come in, and it does get a bit of a bad reputation, or it has a bit of a bad reputation here in Spain as being too political, too pro-government.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know whether the BBC has the same problem in the UK. In Australia, the ABC is always accused of being too political, so that could be one of the problems with the state broadcaster here.
Yeah, I've heard accusations from people online that the BBC is becoming more and more politicized. I won't comment on it, but
well, better not to comment on it, Johnny, because you get smashed in the comment section about the BBC.
Yeah, no, I won't comment on that. But there are people who are starting to make those kind of comments about the BBC's political slant. Yeah.
And when it comes to advertising, I don't know if do you have Movistar? Do you have the Telefonica version of their subscription service or not? The Movistar?
I don't. My girlfriend used to have it. She cancelled. But I can't say I've used it too much for the odd basketball game, but yeah.
Yeah. The thing about that is that's also a pay service, so you pay an amount of money per month, but they put ads on that as well, So they're trying to get the best of both worlds. So I don't know how successful that's going to be, but as I said, the key to Netflix success is that seamless ad-free experience.
Yeah, I think even Amazon Prime started to do it as well, sometimes between episodes or before. Yeah, it's trailers for other stuff on Amazon, though. I don't think it's like external ads, like you see on YouTube, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, another thing that I noticed while I was reading up about this is that they may have to accept ads from RTVE on their platform. So that may disrupt that seamless model, as you say.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see where this leads to. Good. What's next?
Well, I was surprised to learn that yesterday was the last day that you could change pesetas to euros. I thought the pesetas were long gone and a thing of the past, but yeah, apparently they were still being accepted in banks to be changed to euros until yesterday.
Did you manage to get all your millions of pesetas changed?
My non-existent pesetas, yeah. Maybe some from the family holidays years ago, if I'd known.
Well, it disappeared, I think. I say disappear. It was phased out, I think, starting in 2002. 1st of January 2002, I think, was the date. I can't remember exactly the...
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell?
About 18 years ago or so, I think.
Yeah, 18, 19 years ago, yeah. So it's been a long phasing out process, but I suppose that people had a few pesetas stashed away, and maybe they find them under the couch or behind the couch, or they've got them stashed under the mattress or something, and a few because it was a fairly inflated currency. I remember we spoke about this in one of the videos that we did, that the my first salary was something like 250,000 pesetas, you know. So
Yeah.
when you come from Australia and you're used to using dollars, which don't have that, you know, that hyperinflation, it was a bit of a shock to get a 250,000. You know, just seeing those
Yeah.
numbers in the bank
Yeah.
was a bit of a shock.
Oh, I bet, yeah. Well, I think the conversion today is €1 is about 267 pesetas. So that
Today.
would work. Yeah. So I don't know what I don't know what the exchange rate was in your time, but I think what you've mentioned there would be about €1,000 in today's money, right? 250,000, be just under €1,000.
Well, yeah, something like that. When I first came, the peseta when it changed over, it was 166, I think.
Ah, okay.
So it was €1 was 166 pesetas, and it worked out that 18 euros was about 3,000 pesetas. But it was funny to hear back in the day people speaking in pesetas. You know, millions were, you know, the millions quantity was thrown around all the time. To buy a house was 25 millones, you know, and I'm thinking 25 million for a house. Wow, you know, it must be a mansion. And, you know, cars were in the millions as well. So, and, you know, now with the euro, all of those big numbers have gone away. Well, for me, anyway.
Yeah. Well, for many of us, I guess.
That's it. We no longer speak in millions. That's right.
Yeah. Although there is, going back to your point about, you know, the odd peseta under the sofa, there's supposedly 1.6 billion euros worth of pesetas still out there, according to the Bank of Spain, and they expect that 45% won't get exchanged because of their value as a collectible or a collector's item.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah. Maybe people holding on to them for that reason, or maybe people had a few buried in the back garden and they forgot about them. Who knows? But goodbye to the peseta.
Yeah.
Good.
So long
Now, what's next on the list, Johnny?
Yeah, so I saw something about the Guia Repsol. I guess this is the Spanish version of the Michelin guide, right? Something similar.
I think, the Guia Repsol. Yeah, it's the I think that is the case. Yeah.
Yeah, so they've published a new section in their guide called Soletes, and it's basically a section that talks about some of the best tapas bars in Spain, in the forms of chiringuitos, neighborhood bars, like terraces, to tapear, which I didn't realize was a verb until today.
Yeah. What's the definition of a chiringuito?
A chiringuito, I would ask you the same, but I get the impression that a chiringuito is one of these little kiosks or stores on the beach, right?
Yeah, some parts of the country they have them, especially in Andalusia. I think they're quite common to see them. If you go to Malaga, you sort of see these little sheds on the beach with a few people standing around having a drink, or maybe they're a bit more elaborate and they serve food. You don't see them everywhere you go. In Benidorm, when I was there recently, you didn't see chiringuitos like you do in Malaga. In the north of Spain, I don't think they exist either. But very, very common in Andalusia.
Yeah, I guess it's a very Spanish concept, and given that Benidorm is more of maybe a tourist hotspot, well, particularly a tourist hotspot, maybe it's less common there for that reason.
Well, I don't know, because if you go to places in Malaga, if you go to Fuengirola, for example, I'm sure you would see chiringuitos. And as I said, some of them are quite, you know, what's the word? Quite professional in the sense that they have waiters and they serve fresh fish and you know, quite elaborate. You know, they're not we get the impression sometimes when you talk about a chiringuito that's a bit of a rundown place, you know, just one guy behind a bar serving a few cold beers, but some of them are quite well decked out. Yeah.
So what do you look for in a good tapas place, Stu?
Price, firstly. In Madrid, we don't really have the concept of tapas like they do in Granada, for example, where you go to a bar and you buy a drink and they give you quite a decent serving of food. In Madrid, as you know, Johnny, it's just normally a piece of cheese or a few olives, or maybe you get lucky and they give you something a little bit more elaborate. But here it's more of a ración culture. You know, people say, you know, vamos de tapas or vamos a tapear, but they order smaller plates of food. They're not necessarily included with the drinks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I see what you mean. Yeah.
But when it comes to a good tapas bar, basically, you go to those places. As I said, Avila has good tapas, Granada has good tapas. There are places around the country where you can get a good size plate of food with your drink, but the rest of the time you normally have to pay for them. And basically, quality price relationship, how much you're paying for, I don't know, for a plate of jamon or a good plate of cheese or something, and what the and how busy the place is as well. Not well, obviously now, Johnny, with the coronavirus, it's not the same, but before you'd walk into a place, and if it was really, really busy, normally it would be a good place to have tapas.
Yeah. I know you've worked with James from Spain Revealed as well. Him and Yoli, they obviously do videos about different places to eat,
Well, that's their
tapas and all those kind of things.
that's their speciality, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure, as well as this Guia Repsol on their channel, they'll have some good recommendations for tapas.
Well, there's plenty of places. I mean, you can find them everywhere you go. I mean, every place in Madrid gives you that option to have a ración de jamón or queso or pulpo, or calamares. I mean, they're stock standard in basically everywhere you go. But the tapas experience is a little bit different depending on where you are in the country. And I know that places like in Malaga, maybe 50% of the places don't give you a tapa unless you pay for it. And so it sort of depends where you go. But looking at this list, Johnny, we've got cafeterias, ice cream shops. So there's different types of places that are listed here, right? Bares, tascas, barras, chiringuitos, terrazas. What's the other one here? Restaurants, menú del día. So there's a lot of different places.
Yeah, and all across the country as well. You've got a really nice range of locations covered, from likes of Valencia to Catalonia to Madrid, down to the south, I believe, is in there as well.
Everywhere here is listed. I think all of the autonomous communities are listed, if I'm not mistaken. Let me have a look. Andalucía, Aragon, Valencia, Canarias. Yeah, I think they're all listed with 3 or 4 places in each one minimum, and some places with more. Some of the places that are more known for the cuisine, the Basque Country, Catalonia is fairly well known for its cuisine as well, Galicia. So there are quite a few places listed, so I'm sure they're going to become more popular as a result.
Yeah, it'd be good for business, definitely.
It will be. What about you, Johnny? What do you prefer? Do you prefer a sit-down meal, or are you a tapas raciones guy, or what, a terrace inside?
I used to be a sit-down meal kind of guy, and then coming to Spain, this concept of tapas, it's a very sociable experience. You sit down, have a drink, and you just eat during your drinks, and it's quite relaxed, and you can just have a conversation while it's going on. And you're just eating without really thinking about it, and it's quite enjoyable. And it's really nice to sit out on the terrace as well sometimes, particularly a nice evening when it's not too warm.
And it's also something that's unique to Spain in the sense that, I mean, I don't know if you've been to a tapas bar in the UK or in another country, but it's just not the same experience, Johnny. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, in countries like France, you obviously have the concept of a terrace, but it's a very French way of doing things, and quite different to in Spain. I agree.
Yeah, but what I mean is, if you go to a tapas bar in England, for example, if you go to a tapas bar in Australia, okay, they have tapas, but it's not the same dining experience. It's not as relaxed. It's not as casual. There seem to be more health and safety regulations. They don't have the food on the counter where you can go up and grab a pincho and those type of things that you can do here. So it's not as relaxed. It's not as easy.
Not as natural. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Even if it's a Spanish guy that's running the place there, I think there must be rules that don't allow it to have that same experience.
Yeah, it could be.
And the price is something that can change as well, especially in Australia. they tend to go a bit overboard when it comes to charging for these foreign cuisines like tapas and things like that. So I think the one of the things here is that the price is normally quite reasonable. If you go out with 5 or 6 people and you share a few different plates of food, it doesn't work out to be all that expensive normally.
Yeah, okay.
And hopefully we can get back to that sooner rather than later, and these restrictions that we have go away.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a good tapas with some friends, yeah.
That's it. All right, Johnny, anything else?
That was all for today, Stu.
All right, we'll wrap it up there. So have a good one.
You too.
And we'll be in contact.
Yes.
All right, see you later. So there we go. That was the weekly review video. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. See you in the next one. Hasta luego.